And that's why you shouldn't get sushi on a Monday. What's going on, everybody? This is the Cover Band Confidential Podcast, the podcast for cover band musicians and band leaders to learn how to rock more and sing less. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I'm Dan Ray. I bet I like sushi any time of the week, so I'm guessing there's a story there.
Yeah, so we were supposed to have our recording earlier in the week, and on Monday, our kids are both at sleepaway camp, so we went out to dinner with my sister and brother-in-law, and we went and had sushi, and had a wonderful evening until it wasn't wonderful, and I spent a fair amount of the rest of the evening consulting with the porcelain vendors.
Yes.
Yeah, and sharing my thoughts. So that was not great. I do not recommend it. 0 out of 10 stars.
Yeah.
Everybody else was kind of eating like the same stuff, and I was definitely the one that's like, well, I'm having this thing and I'm having this thing. And so somewhere along the lines, I feel like I must have veered off course too far and paid the ultimate price. Well, but I've recovered. It's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, good stuff.
Good.
How about you? Any food related or foodborne illnesses for you?
No, nothing that exciting at all. Pretty much just normal.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like
normal. Normal's great sometimes. Exactly what you want.
The interesting thing is that, there's not a lot of stuff to do like parenting wise. This week is very like free and loose. I have introduced a large amount of chaos into my day to day. The two biggest ones was I opted to try and start a new project with the audio over Cat5, Cat6 deal. There's a guy on YouTube. He's a sound engineer who also has a cover band that does these setup videos. He's got a wing rack, and he was one of the first guys that I saw out in the wild actually using it. And his entire rig, from their pedal boards to the back panel and everything, is all set up with these RJ45 EtherCon connectors. Basically, everything is already pre-wired into the rack, and then when they show up and set up, they patch things from their the microphone to their pedal board, and then it's a Cat6 back to the rack and stuff. I was like, this is amazing. This would simplify so many things and make it easier. And Joey had already gotten one, and I was like, it can't be that difficult. There's not much to it. So he finally posted a video this past week, and I shared it on the Patreon Slack, about how you punch in the audio and the Neutrik back panels with a punch tool. And it is very, very simple. And I was like, this is what I've been waiting for. So I fired up the old 3D printer, and I'm printing enclosures, and then I go to actually order the hardware. And getting punched through Neutrik EtherCon connector deals, they're on back order. I couldn't find one that was going to be here in time for this gig, so I caved and just bought one. It'll be here today. And in preparation for that, there was also the situation with my Strats. I have a black Nick Johnston and a pink Nick Johnston, and I really like the configuration of the hum single on the black one, but I'd much rather play the pink one. So I was like, well, they're basically the same guitar. I'll just, I'll rip the pickguard out of one and put it in the other. How hard could it be? So I'm in the middle of that process. Also got some good recommendations from the Patreon group about soldering irons to get. So I now have a soldering rig and 2 loaded pickguards and no guitars to speak of currently. So the fact that I have to play them in a couple of days is hopefully the motivation I need to get it fixed or figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't need to do this week, but I opted to. And, I'm just going to have to live with the consequences.
Yeah. Well, I mean, putting yourself under time pressure is a time-tested tool for getting stuff done, in my experience.
Yes. The ADHD urgency deal really is the most effective solution to get around task avoidance.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
the fact that I have to means it will happen. my only concern is, getting so far into a project and realizing that I'm out of my depth and not sure where to go from there. That remains to be seen. I haven't gotten into it quite yet, but that will be starting very, very soon. All I'm saying is that next week's episode is probably going to be better than this one, because it'll be the postmortem of the gig that I've been trying to get all of these things set up around. And for as far as that goes, it is the 80s prom that we've done at this thing called Southern Fried Gaming Expo a couple of years. We played it last year, and they were going to go with a different group. They just want to keep it unique every year, but their first choice wasn't able to make it, and so we got asked kind of late in the game, but we have enough availability, so we're going to do it with kind of a smaller lineup, and it'll be fun. But the thing about it is this very quick turnaround time, because they've got this room being used for a bunch of other things, and then they shut it down for like an hour and a half, and then we start. So you really have to have all of your ducks in a row. And I think setting up this deal where I can basically plug one half of the Cat6 deal into the back of the wing, patched in already, then all I have to do is connect the EtherCon from one side, plug the other things from that side in from there, and it'll basically be done in like 3 connections as opposed to like 6. So
sounds amazing.
Hopefully that is the case. And of course, the big picture deal would be inevitably to pre-wire everything into the back of the rig, and then using the EtherCon connections for, like, you've got a snake for stage left, you've got a snake for stage right, you've got maybe a couple of them for drums with like combi jacks, so that whether we're using a full kit or we're using just the the octopad, it just patches in, and we can get things put together like exponentially faster, and hopefully minimize the amount of potential issues with setup, or at least provide more time to troubleshoot them if something does go wrong. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome.
All right, moving along, we have a review. So this was a submission through our web contact form on coverbandconfidential.com. This is from Daniel Willamont, and he says, I want to write a review, but he can't because he uses Spotify. I want to give you guys 5 stars all the way. Based in Ireland, you have answered so many questions I didn't even know I wanted to ask about all things music and band related. Congratulations on the 1 million deal. We'll talk about that in a second. Well deserved, and keep rocking, from Dan in Ireland. So thank you, Dan from Ireland, for reaching out. But I did want to note that we have, in fact, hit 1 million views on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it was literally, I think, the day after we recorded that we crossed that threshold. So very, very cool to have hit that. Feels pretty gratifying, the amount of time and effort we've put into the show and this channel, for it to have a nice big round number to point at. Is pretty neat. So if you watch anything that we've done on YouTube, we thank you. It's cool.
It is cool.
I feel cool about it.
As an official video producer, you should.
Yeah. So burying the lead here. This was a thing that's been going on in the back channels for longer than I care to admit.
Yeah.
But the process of learning how to do all of this stuff has now poured over into my professional life, and the company that I have been working with basically for the span of the show being on. I am now going to be transitioning full-time into content for them. So I somehow managed to take my hobby and turn it into my career again.
Yeah.
Whether that's a good thing or not remains to be seen, but I'm very much looking forward to getting more into this world and doing it in a professional capacity. Because I mean, it's been something that's, kind of been back and forth with different companies. There was a period of time where I interviewed with Dave Hamilton's company about, working for him. It wasn't a good fit at the time or whatever, but this has been a long time coming. And so feeling pretty good.
Yes, much to celebrate.
Now, that being said, we do need to come back around to a corrections corner, which I appreciate the fact that this exists at all.
For sure.
Because we have said, I don't know how many times on the show, like, hey, if we are completely talking out of our asses, let us know about it.
Yeah.
And I'll be dipped if they didn't. So this week's corrections corner is compliments of Andrew Adams, who emailed us after, actually he saw it on YouTube. it's hard for me to process that people watch the show.
I know.
because it's just always been an audio medium for me as far as consumption goes.
Which is interesting because like sometimes I have to remember to manage my face. Like,
yeah,
it's not.
I mean, I cut around it.
Well, thank you, but yeah, it's not.
Yeah, depending on when the show is being recorded, I'm either like covering yawns or, refilling our beverage glasses or what have you.
Right.
But anyway, this is from Andrew Adams. He emailed us after watching the episode. He said, just watching the pod on YouTube and thought I would share how I've been mapping the click to the record. Okay, so this is in reference to...
in response to... So yeah, I figured out how to have Logic Pro understand varying tempos in a live recorded song and to build the tempo variance into the thing, but then I couldn't make a click that followed that varying tempo in the track. So this is Andrew's come to rescue me.
Yes. So he says, right-click the audio region and select apply region tempo to project tempo, and you get pretty good results with the click, but there's always going to be exceptions, like variances they may not hit. Alternatively, you can select apply project tempo to region and downbeat, which is great if you want to preset the click to be not variable, or maybe a song you want to play a little bit faster live. Thanks for all the great content. Big thanks to Andrew Adams for dropping in.
Yeah. So as a I do my Logic work by intuition and not by reading things, which leaves me uninformed about a lot of stuff, including this. When we say region, so a region is just a uncut strip of audio, right? It's like...
Yes. So in Logic, an audio region is basically when you click on it, whatever lights up, as far as it being highlighted, that is what is considered an audio region.
What we mean by a region. So right-clicking that and saying apply. It did the project tempo automatically when I imported the audio, I think. It's been a while since I tried it. And I guess what I want then is apply project tempo to region and downbeat on my new click track that I've built.
Well, no, so what he's saying is that by applying it to the audio region, you're instead of making the click follow the sound, it's actually snapping, I think, the record to the grid, I think is what it's supposed to be doing.
Oh.
So it's doing the opposite. So that's why I'm saying alternatively, like, or from the other side, because once you lock it to the grid, then what he's saying, you can increase the tempo, you can adjust those things.
Yeah, gotcha.
There's no wrong or right way. I think some people like the feel of the swing of the original recordings, but this would, make it easier to do other things as far as like automation and that kind of thing.
Gotcha. I need to play with it some more, clearly.
Cool. So if you are messing around in Logic with these different methods, which one do you typically use? Do you do the mapping of the original, or are you snapping everything to the grid? Let us know about that. coverbandconfidential@gmail.com. I haven't gotten back into this workflow since I did it back, 8 or 9 years ago, and a lot has changed. So I'd be very curious to see how people are, navigating that in today's day and age.
Yeah.
So this week we're going to go ahead and just call it. It's going to be a short one. There's just a lot going on. And before I do that, though, this is just going to be like a pat on the back for hitting 1 million views and all of that good stuff, and a bit of a checkup on what's going on. But next week, somebody brought this topic up in the Patreon Slack, and I think it would be a really fun conversation to get your feedback on. So the topic of songs that you hate but you play every time came up, and the list is kind of surprising because one person's Mustang Sally is another person's Mustang Sally, I guess.
Yeah, I think we can agree that when we cover this topic, we'll have to call it the What's Up by Four Non-Blondes episode.
Yeah, because that seems to be the most reviled among the the community. But I'm sure there are others. You know,
songs that you hate but you play anyway because of what they do to people. Yeah.
So if you have one of those songs, if you have an entire set of those songs, we want to know about it. coverbandconfidential@gmail.com. What we could do if we get enough input, maybe we can kind of rank them. Like we could do like here are the top 10 or whatever.
We could do a top 10 list.
I'll do you one better. Let's put together a survey, and we'll post the link in the show notes.
Nice.
And so when you are consuming this on whatever platform you're consuming it on, you can just click in and provide your submission, and then we'll tally them up and see how it goes.
I like it.
Sound good? Cool. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Sorry for it being a short one, but if you saw my desk right now, you would understand the level of unease that I am experiencing. So there'll be plenty to talk about next week once we get on the other side of this gig. And that'll be it. So thanks for tuning in. Have a fantastic week. Have a good weekend. Hope your gigs go well. All of that good stuff. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson.
Greensboro, North Carolina, Dan Ray.
You have been listening to the Cover Band Confidential podcast for the week of June 20th, 2025.